The countdown has begun. Welcome back to Eddytainment. My name's Eddy, and with the spring coming to a close, depending on who you are, it could be very soon or later on in June, and the summer just around the corner, the ride behind us is about to open very soon. And there's also been a ton of construction updates that I've been seeing people posting online. And of course, you know, we had to come see it ourselves. But the big debate amongst the audience and in the comments has been, when is spring? Busch Gardens has said that this ride is going to be opening spring of 2026. But people are thinking spring is for theme parks at the end of May. And I think that may be fairly accurate, but we'll talk more about what the predicted opening date of this ride behind us is going to be. Verbolten Forbidden Turn is obviously a highly anticipated ride, but if you Google spring, you'll be able to see that spring actually ends towards the end of June. I'll try to put the dates up here somewhere, but it's later in the end of June where spring ends and summer actually begins. And now, the last time we were here for a Verbolten construction update, there was a lot of trees in the way, but we did capture this sign. But it seems that since then, Busch Gardens has actually taken it upon themselves to actually cut down some of the trees. You can see some of the stumps there, so you have a much better view of the sign, and you can see clearly that it says this way. It has the gnome to the Black Forest. Here's probably the best view that you'll get at the gnome. Still a bunch of trees in the way, but it's cool. The sign looks awesome. And the false track is also in place, but we'll capture that from a different angle in just a second. Also, another notable update is the blue car has moved forward in the load station, and the parts that were disassembled on either side of it are no longer there. So it looks like the blue car is back together. I'm assuming those were the parts for that car. But yeah, it's moving along. Looks like maybe this is prep for the early testing of Verbolten. And here's a much more clear look at the trees that were cut and removed. They're actually still laying there down on the ground. You can see all their stumps. And you can also see the false track, which last week we saw the footers for it back here and just under the track there. But now you can see they've actually placed the track. And I wonder how they're gonna, if it's just gonna be rough edged like that, or they're gonna connect it in some way where it looks like it's actually part of this larger track that turns right when you're not supposed to. And today we are joined by our little buddy doing our construction update.
I want to go to Grover's.
You want to go to Grover's? We'll get there, baby. But the important thing is to figure out when the date is. I do believe the countdown for the opening of this ride is started now. I'm expecting that we're going to start hearing some testing. We're going to start seeing some emails go out with opening dates very soon. My best guess would be within the next 2, max 3 weeks. And I'm anticipating that we're going to get a sooner opening than most were expecting. Now, rumor has it this guy should be moving. And when this guy moves, I think is going to be a big indicator of things going on and how soon we are, or how soon we will be opening this ride. I think this guy's going to be one of the final parts to move. That being said, a lot has been going on every week, and you'll probably see it right here. Let me see if I could get a view of it. There's the front of the blue car inside of the ride building, but also the display at the queue line, or the beginning of the queue line, has received a major update that I'm looking forward to seeing in person. And just before we check out that piece that I was just discussing, which is the Porsche at the entrance, we take a look, and it looks like there's still some construction to do at the queue line, which is they're going to be adding some screens. Obviously, there's a ladder there. They're getting some work done, but the plywood is still in place where the 3 monitors should be going. That's going to be another indicator that they're very close to the end. And I think those are easy updates, so they're not in a rush to get those monitors up, but those should be up very soon. Now standing here in the front of the entrance that's currently boarded off for Verbolten Forbidden Turn, looking at the calendar for May, we still have 4 full weeks left of May, and we have a holiday, which is a likely possible opening day, which is the Memorial Day weekend. It could be the 22nd when it'll open on a Friday, and that's the long Memorial Day weekend. But I also think just because time constraints, that is technically like 3 weeks out from now. But if we were looking at another week or so out, I think the 29th is also another like grand opening potential date, both in May. I think the ride is gonna be opening in May. This kid loves the test seat. I'm telling you, I didn't even ask him to sit down in it. Ollie, you asleep? You silly goose. You scared me for a second there. Now here is the big aesthetic update that they've made to Verbolten. Now this is obviously a Porsche Targa for those of you that are car guys, as Ollie struggles over there with the test seats. And they've added now Fra Hexo's Magical Motor Tour, which almost sounds like Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motor Tour or whatever it's called, which is kind of funny because they both have drop tracks. Verbolten had the drop track first though, so shout out to Verbolten. They've also added these new vines, very cool aesthetics here on the front entrance of the Verbolten ride. Verbolten Forbidden Turn now, and I can't wait for us to meet Fra Hexo. Now let us know down in the comments what your thoughts are about a May opening. Obviously, like I said earlier, June, end of June is when spring ends, but check it out. The Porsche is obviously crashed. I don't think that's something new, but this right here almost seems like they're gonna add some like water effect for the impact site of the Porsche. Another thing, let us know down in the comments. I don't think these vines are necessarily new on the ride, but they could be. They could be some like new aesthetics, or maybe they're just more vines throughout the ride entrance. Now, as far as the actual queue goes, where we'll be running into Fra Hexo for the first time, as well as Broom, right now it looks like it's all the same. Brightening it up a little bit so you can see. I don't see anything going on inside of the Fra Hexo room, and the board behind the Broom room still seems to be the same. And obviously we can't get a great angle at the inside of the Broom room. But eventually when Fra Hexo comes out, I think they'll be tarping off this window, which will let us know that the animatronic is in process of getting installed. Now, as far as the ride opening in June, I think if that ends up being the case, it's going to be like super early June. So maybe around like June 13th, which would be perfect. That's my birthday. And if Busch Gardens ends up opening on June 13th, we know that that was specifically for me. All jokes aside though, I do see that there's a construction vehicle over by the bridge scene. And I know that there's been some photos from an angle from the actual like facade of the building as you go in, the show building. I think we have to get on the Rhine River cruise to check that out. I'm not sure if I'm doing that today, but there's been some things put up on there. Maybe I'll ask somebody for permission to utilize their photos and throw them over this so that you guys can see there's some cool like theming going on in the front of the actual like video, or not video, in the front of the actual like ride building. And as the beautiful Rhine River cruises make their way, just over there in the distance, you can see they have another lift. I wonder what they're doing. I feel like I've missed any construction going on the actual bridge scene. And on that note, guys, we take our final look at Verbolten. This might be one of our last construction updates, with the ride opening being just around the corner. Maybe the next time you see me will be for an early preview ride of Verbolten. We'll definitely be, if we get that access, be taking you guys along for that. But there is a lot going on in the ride. What's going on inside of the ride, who knows? Because now you could tell that the crane that was there for the sign, for that false track piece, and more than likely for moving the tree into the actual show building, is now gone. So more than likely inside of that show building, they're moving along for those last final steps. Guys, thank you so much for coming along. We will see you on the next one. You want to see? Come here. Yeah. We will see you guys on the next one. But up till then, don't forget to ask yourself, have you been edutained? Oh, and a big shout out to all my Patreon supporters. Love you guys. Love all you guys, even the ones that aren't Patreon supporters. But Patreon supporters are really coming through lately. And you best believe when the Verbolten previews for the actual ride come along, you guys will be the first ones to get a sneak peek at that. Fingers crossed. Hopefully some media events will be going out soon.